the Chicago.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Bears show. I'm Ivan Vargas. Let's go ahead and just get this out of the way. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you download the app wherever you get your apps from. Just search Sports Zone Chicago. Wild, crazy couple days. Not only in sports, but definitely in the NFL and definitely with our Chicago Bears. The Bears trading KHALIL Mack, obviously the biggest news. It's just, it seems to me, I talked about it a couple times here. I mentioned it, and I was just thinking, like, man, I don't feel like that's where they want to go. I don't feel like this is what they want to do in a full rebuild and trading KHALIL Mack, even though I was hoping for the draft or for the draft picks and the draft capital. And I'm enjoying, like, I do appreciate that. At least we have we got a second round pick. A lot of people are heated about not getting more for him. And, what I have to say about that, and there's a lot of emotions running wild, especially when it comes to KHALIL Mack and what could have been, what might have been, what never was, right? 2018, that, him sacking Aaron Rodgers, that whole first half, all of that. It was entertaining, while it lasted. It was definitely frustrating when he couldn't get back on the football field. It was definitely frustrating when, he would have good games and then all of a sudden you would see how he struggled. And don't get me wrong. He's a warrior. He's a dog. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he's healthy moving forward. And he's going to be a force to be reckoned with if healthy. But him not being healthy, him not being on the football field doesn't help the Chicago Bears, and it hasn't really helped the Chicago Bears for the past couple seasons. The return back from KHALIL Mack is pretty much what I feel like everybody is kind of bitching and moaning about. Why didn't we get more? Why didn't we get a first round pick? I'm not too sure you were going to get more than a sixth round pick if they weren't going to go ahead and take that capital. Like, if they weren't going to take the rest of KHALIL Mack's salary, what realistically do you think that we're going to ask for that would have helped us out? We would have been screwed next season. We've been screwed the season after that. I feel like the agreement and the understanding that this is how things work sometimes. You have a pass rusher that's right now with the team, with how the team is built, is just being overpaid. And it's not because he's not a good talent. It's because you just don't have you don't have the place for him with the team that you have right now on paper, with the team that you have. Even if you were to have more guys, or excuse me, if you have less guys being free agents, I still would think you would have a struggle trying to win next season. So looking at it as KHALIL Mack hasn't been on the football field. The Chicago Bears were already, telling you, Ryan Poles, medical is huge. Tarik Cohen just got cut today, mainly because he failed the physical. Medical is huge for Ryan Poles. So I'm thinking that the health of KHALIL Mack the past couple of seasons, the fact that you're pretty much screwed, the next, after this season, if you keep KHALIL Mack, and you're taking on so much money for him with a team that's not even like you have how many players are on the roster right now? I think we mentioned on Sean and mine in the morning earlier. I think they were the guys were talking about 16 or something like that. You have nobody on the roster as of right now. You're going to need to save as much money as you can, or at least use the money wisely. Right, the money that you have, the cap room that you have, you're gonna have to use it wisely. I get people are pissed off that you're paying $20+ million to a guy that's not here. I understand that. But were we going to win this year? Were you expecting Super Bowl from the Chicago Bears? My take was, hey, if the Bears could scratch the playoffs and surprise people, awesome. Awesome. If they could just be one game above or even with what they did this season, and you see progression with the attitude of the team, with the defense, with the offensive line, with Justin Fields, mainly, if you see a step up in play, if you see a step up in competition, and the Bears are, flirting with the same record as they had this previous season, or maybe, give or take a couple games either way, I feel like you're getting a win. I feel like that's where you're headed. Now, what do you think Khalil Mack's mind is? Honestly, Khalil Mack, I'd mentioned it before. Khalil Mack was out in Egypt doing his own thing, like kind of focus on other things. Not really, and he's not a vocal leader like you would expect certain guys to be. Like you would expect a guy like Khalil Mack, the beast that he is on the field when healthy. You'd expect him to be more vocal. He's not that dude, but I felt like that break, that separation, him going and post and stuff, and he was very kind of cryptic with certain things he was saying. It just felt like he was ready for a break. Like he knew these guys aren't ready for winning. He knows that they're not built to win right now. Where do I fit in all this? Do I want to give up years of my prime in order to go ahead and maybe give these guys the last bit, that I have to win a Super Bowl at the back end of it? Because that's kind of where I see the Bears, right? Best case scenario, the Bears are, sniffing the playoffs next season, right? And I it would be a miracle. I think it would be a stretch now that we see where they're headed, the direction that they're headed, to think that they're going to be in the playoffs this year. Don't get me wrong. They can overachieve. There's always overachieving teams. Matt Eberflus's defense could, connect with a lot more players than I think. Maybe they hit in free agency. Maybe they hit in the draft. That could be a possibility. Realistically, looking at it, I'm thinking you're going to try to compete this year, try to embed your style of play, embed your philosophy into your players. And now that we see with the Khalil Mack trade, Tarik Cohen being cut, Danny Trevathan probably going to get cut post-June, I'm thinking that's exactly what they want. They want the younger guys. They want the more moldable guys. They want the guys that are going to buy into their system long term. A guy like Khalil Mack deserves a team that's going to win now. The Chargers pretty much are all in. The Chargers on defense and the Chargers as a team know you have a lot of good quarterbacks out in the AFC West. You're going to have to generate pass rush. What better, compliment to a guy like Joey Bosa than a Khalil Mack, a healthy Khalil Mack, right? And hopefully, Khalil Mack working on like he shut it down. And Phil had, mentioned this earlier. Khalil Mack he's a dog. Like I said, he's going to fight through. He's not going to show, he's never let him see you sweat, right? Never let him see you sweat. That's kind of how I see Khalil Mack. And he finally shut it down last season. To me, that tells me like Khalil knows he needs to get healthy. Like he hasn't been healthy. He hasn't been himself. He's been trying to force it through. You're not, you don't get younger. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you could have overcome this mentally at a younger age. Maybe physically you could have overcome some injuries at a younger age. But now I think Khalil Mack realizes, hey, I need to get healthy. That's why he shut it down last season. And I feel like he understands, hey, man, the healthier, the better. He has a limited amount of time in the NFL, especially, at a high level. I mean, not saying that he can't do it for a long time. He's a freak athlete that, he could do crazy shit out on the football field. We've seen it firsthand. But his mind, he's got to win. Like the Bears aren't ready to win next season. You think he wants to give up that prime like I'd mentioned before? I don't think so. And I think Khalil Mack, I'm sure that there had to have been a conversation. This couldn't have been just Ryan Poles, boom, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out of here. Or you're out of here. like that. I don't, you're not one of my guys. I feel like it was a conversation to be had. I feel like they at least had to have checked the mental of a guy like Khalil Mack. And if they didn't, okay, so be it. But I feel like that's, that you couldn't have just went ahead and said nothing. And if Khalil Mack was speaking, through social media and the Bears are paying attention, well, then that's how it goes. But I feel like the emotion, the emotional attachment that goes with a guy like Khalil Mack because of what happened, because of that flash in the pan back in 18, the flash in the pan that we typically see every 4 or 5 years from the Chicago Bears after a miserable 4 or 5 years previous. That's kind of what people are holding on to. And it's like, yo, that was, what did we do? What did we do? What did we do? What did we do? We lost to the Eagles. And that was it. That was it. That was it. That was the ride. That was 2018. That was gone, said, and done. Don't hold on to things that are not. All I'm saying, Khalil Mack, when healthy, dog, goon, monster, will destroy you on the football field. Look at what happened. Look at it's a what have you done for me lately type of mentality, man. Khalil Mack hasn't been healthy. What has he done for us lately? I get the cap. I get the dead cap. It saves us a few $1 million. What, $6 million? I think the Bears are at, if they trade, if they cut Danny Trevathan, they're cutting Eddie Goldman. I don't know where they're at after they cut Eddie Goldman. I actually have to look that up because I forgot to add that into it. But they're going to have, 30 million plus, 35 million plus. It'll be after June 1st, I think Danny Trevathan's cap savings shoots up. I think it shoots up to like 9. I forgot what it is. It's 38 million, Edgar. 38 million right now. You're looking at second tier guys. They're looking for dogs in free agency. I know that for a fact. With the amount of money that you have, they're looking for that second tier dog that wants to be in the first tier. A linebacker, a cornerback, a guy in the third tier, and a guy, one of the Rasul Douglases that are out there in free agency. They're going to go ahead and invest money into that. They're going to try to find guys that are motivated, try to find guys that are on the same page. I had Robert Smits on here and we were talking about, and I'm going to keep beating this one because it was perfectly said. I feel like everybody's speaking different languages the last 4 years. Now you have guys on the same page speaking one language. They're looking for guys that want to buy into. They're looking for dogs, straight up dogs. They're looking for dogs in free agency. They're looking for dogs in the draft. You have to be hungry. You have to love this game in order to play the way that they're going to expect you to play. That's how it is. The way that Lovey had it, everybody compares Matt Eberflus to Lovey. The way that Lovey had it, you think that the mental of these guys is going to be weak. You have the strong survive in this system because it holds people accountable, right? I know if you're afraid of people getting injured, I could understand that. I don't think that making sure that your mind is 100% go, like run to the ball. I don't think that keeping your body in shape, staying within the weight limits that they're trying to keep you, I don't think that's asking too much of guys. I really don't. And it changes you. It changes who you are as a player when you're in shape. We talked about, and let me go to baseball real quick. We talked about it earlier. Actually, we talked about baseball earlier, but we talked about Yohan Moncada a couple weeks ago. And I said, if Yohan Moncada wants to really show people and really, change things, he'll come in the best shape of his life. Any athlete that wants to change the perception of them, what wants to take it to the next level, you take your physical to the next level. You take your conditioning, you take your physical, You take your strength training, you take all that to the next level because that's what you want to do. Do you love football? That's what they're going after. Not saying Khalil Mack doesn't love football, because I know Khalil Mack's on the promo and everybody's talking about that, but it's not that. It's just the mental of what they want in their football players. Period. You know, looking at Tarik Cohen and here's the actually before we do that, here's what the Bears got in return. Apologize for that. Bears get a second round pick, 48 overall from the Chargers, and a 6th round pick next year, 2023, for Khalil Mack. So, and like I said, there will be a cap hit, but you're saving money, Edgar. Like you said, $38 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to move. And then on top of that, you look at what you're gonna save next season, and the year after that, and the year after that, and then you have people uh posting free agents, right? Free agents in the upcoming seasons. You can change this team and change the perception of this team within 2 years if you're Ryan Poles. And I feel like, and for me, and the if there's any vitriol at all, if there's any hate towards Ryan Poles, it's ignorance. I feel like it's ignorance. I don't feel like it's justified. I don't feel like calling him an idiot or saying he's in over his head or anything like that is justified. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do as a GM. I think he's doing exactly the job that he was asked to do. You weren't left much. You weren't left much. Changing the culture of this team is going to take a lot. I mentioned it, was it yesterday? It's like a band. Sometimes you got to just rip the Band-Aid off, deal with the fucking pain, and move forward and heal from it. Like, there's only so much. Like, you can't just go sit there and, I guess maybe we'll pull away this guy, or maybe we'll pull out. No, the fans have an affinity for this guy. Like, we can't do that. Like, they'll come at. Screw that. Honestly, it's almost a. I won't even say that. I won't even say. I don't even think it's like a screw the fans mentality. It's a. This is my show. I've mentioned it in the promo. It's Ryan Poles' team now. Accept it. This is what we're doing. Holding on to 2018 is not going to help the future. Holding on to 2018 is not going to help Justin Fields. Holding on to 2018 and something that happened, and mainly a half of football. I know there was multiple different times where Khalil Mack was excellent. But mainly you're just thinking about that first game. You're thinking about that first half of football where he was just dominant. And then you see Aaron Rodgers go out and you know the fucking rest. Let that go. It's time to move forward. And I like the way Ryan Poles is moving. If Danny Trevathan's next, and if they're going to, cut him post June 1st, cool. Save as much money as you can. Danny, I'm sure Danny understands his time is up here. Now where do you go? Looking at free agency, with $38 million, you're going to be able to, like I said, you're not going to, if he stays true to what he's saying, you're not going to blow your load on the first guy you see. You're not going to go ahead and throw millions of dollars at the first player that your eye catches. That's not how Ryan Poles operates. And it, like, so far, and I know we haven't seen him for long, but I don't think that's how he operates. He's shown me enough to think that this dude don't care. What are you going to do? Can you perform? He's not going to play favorites. He's not afraid to go ahead and cut guys and make the hard decisions, making the tough decisions as the head of an organization. He's the head football guy. He's like it's him, and then it's the coach. So he's number one. He runs the show. Obviously, he has his assistant GM in Cunningham, so he'll have help. It's his show, and he's running it as such. And to this point, I'm impressed. We still have the actual start of the season coming up next week, Wednesday the 16th. So there's still a lot to be done. But removing the financial burden that we are going to have in the next couple seasons, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's the decisions that you put him in. It's the role that he was put in. Right. This is his job. This is nobody else deciding this. He made the move. He decided it. I'm sure if you, I'm sure if it was going to be somebody else, I guarantee you they would have been like, no, the fans love Khalil Mack. We invested so much money in Khalil Mack. I'm sure if it was a George or Ted decision, I think that would have been more of the direction that they went. Keeping Khalil Mack, appeasing, trying to appease to us fans, but not thinking ahead like Ryan Poles is doing with with saving the money, like getting rid of all that money. Like thinking about it, on top of adding to this roster now, if they really hit on some guys that are all in, that are motivated, that not only to be all in for Matt Eberflus's system, but being all in as their career as a football player. This is it. Guys that will go to war to try to be the best. And if they're not the best, they're still fighting to be the best. Like they're still fighting. You want guys that fight. You want guys that strive for that greatness. That's what, and it's cheesy when you say it, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for guys that strive for greatness. And I think that's what Ryan Poles is looking. Not that Khalil Mack isn't. Tarik Cohen is another story. Daniel Trevathan was a great player in his time. You know what I mean? But he himself, as an organization, as the players that he's looking for, it's striving for the best. It's striving for great. Like, what are you here for? He mentioned that before. What are you here for? What do you play football for? Money, paycheck, your family. Those are all good things. But what are you here for? Do you want to be the best? Do you want to just get your paycheck and go home? What are you here for as a Chicago Bear? And I hope he finds guys like that. I truly do. I really hope he finds guys that are hungry to make a name, not only for themselves, but hungry to wear that blue and orange and play 100% all the time. I have guys I have people all the time ask me to play ball, stuff like that. Whether it be football, softball, what have you. I get requests to come play all the time. If I'm not feeling it, if I'm not 100% mentally, why the fuck am I playing, right? And think about it at a professional level. Think about it as a professional. I'm just talking about screwing around with a bunch of guys on a weekend. You know what I mean? Or your co-ed team on a weekend or something like that. If I'm not in it 100%, why the fuck am I there? That's what they're looking for. That's the mentality that they want. All the time, 100%, we're here to win. You play to win the game. Shout out Herb Edwards. But it's not going to be right away. And it's not going to be the way Bears fans want it to be. It's not. It's going to be the way Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus dictate. It's going to be up to the players whether they buy in. We talked about Eddie Jackson. It was funny because Ken Davis, host of the Under Center Pod, he's pretty much done with the Eddie Jackson conversation. Shout out to Ken. He was pretty much done with the Eddie Jackson conversation this morning. He was pretty much like, oh, he was. Not, I guess, yeah. I guess you would say annoyed, just because we keep talking about this and the disappointment in what Eddie is now. The disappointment and just the unknown of, can he change? Can you start it back up? Right? He said he started the shutting off the engine and starting it back up. Right? You got that stutter. in your engine after shutting it down, getting that big paycheck? Can you start it back up? It's all mental with Eddie Jackson. It's all mental with guys like that. Eddie can be a great player, but it's always, it seems like you always have to be at him. There's always got to be somebody coming for him. If he feels comfortability at any moment, you're going to start to see kind of a lazy type of approach. You're going to see all right, well, okay, nobody, not a I have to get it done, not a this can't fucking happen again type of mentality, but all right, it happened. I guess we'll get him next time. Like, no, just cut that shit out. Make sure you get him down. And I get you have athletes on the field. I understand that the guys are playing 110% as well. There's other people out on the football field. But it's the mentality. It's the mentality. You know you're going to get beat once in a while. But if you have that mentality where you fuck you, I'm going through you, or you're coming, or I'm bringing you down, it just it changes your approach. And I just feel like Eddie, with the previous regime, with the previous coaching staffs, outside of Vic Fangio, like after Vic Fangio, so Pagano and Desai, it's just been a do whatever you want type of approach. You're making plus $1 million. People are calling, talking about you as a top 2 safety in the league. And I don't know, you got fat. You got fat. Speaking metaphorically, you got fat. You got your paycheck. You're all over Instagram. You're posting all the time. Similar to like what Tarik Cohen. Tarik Cohen got a paycheck, and he did get hurt. He did get hurt, but I don't think Tarik was putting as much effort into what his craft was. Similar to what Eddie Jackson is, young guys that got millions of dollars thrown at them, and you got people in a city like Chicago telling you you're fucking great, you're amazing, you guys are gonna go to the fucking Super Bowl. You guys are going to do it. You guys are going to be great for the next 10 years. Like whatever shit that was said 2018 and immediately after, right? Whatever was said then, I can understand where a young guy could go ahead and fall back and become complacent, but that shit can't fly. I can understand it, but I will not accept it. And I don't think Matt Eberflus or Ryan Poles will accept it as well either. I think that an Eddie Jackson, number one, the spotlight's on you on defense. If they keep you, if you don't get moved some way, somehow, count your blessings and start thinking of it as, hey, they're giving me an opportunity to change the narrative on myself. They're giving me the opportunity to come out here, make sure you're in the best shape of your fucking life. Make sure you're flying. Make sure you're attentive. Make sure you're present. Like you were. Well, I don't think captain was worth much to the last regime. The title of captain or the place of a captain. I don't think they took it serious. I don't think they took that serious at all. I think it was a joke to them. I think the merry-go-round of captains and the multiple voices, the multiple Spanish, English, whatever, with the analogy we use, with the miscommunication that was going on. It's hard, man. I could understand it. I could understand where a young guy can slip up. But now, Eddie, you got guys coming in here and being direct. Being direct. There's an expectation. Look, I know people want to talk shit about hits. I know it sounds coachy. I know it sounds like it's a bunch of bull. When you go when a not only a team, but like not only a unit, but if a person buys into it, like if you have a mantra or something that you beat the drum on constantly, day in and day out, boom, boom, boom. This is what we fucking do. It becomes what you do. It becomes a part of you. And I'm sorry for swearing as much, but like it's that holding on to what never was that gets to me. It's some of the fans that were out there, and look, I've been very critical of the Bears, but some of the fans that have been out there, it's just like, come on, dog, give him a shot. The guy hasn't said anything. He hasn't done anything to this point that has got me to believe that he's going to be the same as the last one. We have to see the coach. You have to be able to go ahead and see the coach. But there's, as far as Ryan Poles is concerned, I think he has the plan to get us to where we need to be. If we could get guys on the football field, we get guys on the grass, then we can let Matt Eberflus dictate what they do, and we could start to see who the guys that want to be here are. You'll start to see the effort. You'll start to see the fight. You'll start to see the competition. As far as the draft is concerned, getting that second round draft pick is bigger than what people think. This draft is deep with talent. Deep with talent. Now, all of the talent, isn't going to transfer. All that talent, all those, every player out there, even the good ones, even the really good ones, some of them might not be what you think they are. But if you could go ahead and with that second round draft pick, hit on that playmaker that you were speaking about, that's so huge. Hit on another guy, whether it be a cornerback, whether it be an offensive lineman. You hit on a guy that you're high on. Hit on the best player at either of those positions, because that's where I'm at now. I still want offensive line, but I'm not naive to the fact that you still need a cornerback. With that second round draft, with that second round draft pick at 48, I could say, yeah, maybe offensive line, maybe quarterback. I'm not quarterback, cornerback, not quarterback, cornerback. I'm just eager to see what happens. Center is a big position of need too. They're bringing back Sam Mustipher. I think they're bringing back Sam Mustipher to compete. I don't think they're bringing back Sam Mustipher to be the day one starter. I think everybody's position here is up for grabs. They want competition at all positions. And I'm liking it. I'm liking how things are shaping up. And it looks shitty now. It looks shitty now, but if you stay focused and you stay, on track, and if they continue to talk the talk and walk the walk, well, I think the Bears are going to be a very, very good team within the next 2 to 3 years. Maybe not 2 years, maybe more like 3 years. But they're going to be they're going to be some fighters. They're going to be one of those teams where it's like, hey, look at what the Bears have done. There's just and call me crazy, say you guys could call me out for this if the Bears end up fucking sucking. But just the mentality and the way that they talk, the way that they speak, the way that they carry themselves. These moves now that they're pulling, those things tell me that these guys have the right idea. Even when you don't agree, those guys tell me that these guys have the right idea. Isaiah, yeah, I think that's where they're going to head. I think that's where they're going to head. I think offensive line and defensive line, for that matter, might be addressed a little bit in free agency. I think you'll end up hitting on guys. Maybe you hit on, like I said, maybe you hit an offensive lineman after that, or maybe you hit on a cornerback after that at 48. Then you need a middle linebacker, or where, depending on where they decide Roquan's going to be. You'll need to find another linebacker to play next to him. This weekend, I'm going to go start taking a look at certain positions. I'll do a Monday show as I wrap things up here. I'll do a quick Monday show at 4 o'clock, as always, and talk a little bit about where I think or who I think they should target in free agency. And then after Wednesday, once Wednesday starts, I mean, maybe it'll be a insane Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with NFL signings and such. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be quiet, but I kind of doubt it. Break things down. I'll break that down next week on Friday. Like I said, if big things go down, I'm sure day one somebody's going to get signed. Something's going to go down. But if not, I'll still be there on Friday talking about it. Looking at it, man, like I said in closing, give these guys a chance. Give them a chance. And I'm telling you that because I feel like I feel it. The way that they address you, the fan, the way that they address, their questions, the way that they answer their questions, the way that they are going about it. And I think the Khalil Mack trade is the biggest indication of that. They're not fucking around. When they say this is what they want, this is what they want. This is the player that not talking crap about Khalil Mack as a player. It was strictly financial, strictly business with Khalil. But they want this. They want this type of player. They want this type of approach to their finances. They want this type of approach to certain situations. They want specific. They have their plan. They have an idea of who they want and what they want. Their coaches is in sync with the GM. This is what we wanted as Bears fans. This is the biggest thing. This was the biggest thing. Either Bill Polian saying it, whoever this was the biggest thing. Cohesiveness between the GM and the head coach. And I think we have that right here. I think we have that here in Poles and Eberflus. Got to see him execute. Like I said, the season starts next week. The new season starts next week. Free agency opens up. Going to see a lot of movement around the league. The Bears are talking about that second tier. So like I said, I will be on Friday. I won't expect the Bears to be making huge moves, but if there is a move with the Bears, of course I'll be on. If there's a move anyway, I'm still going to be on as well. These guys need and deserve a shot. I think they deserve a shot, at least for year one. Like I said, what I'm looking for in year one, competition at all sides, competition at all levels. Guys that fight. If a guy goes down, I want the next guy to be just as fucking active and just as pesty as the next one if he's on defense. If an offensive lineman goes down, I want the next guy to be just as aggressive and nasty as the other guy, at least mentally. At least have the same type of mentality going into a ball game, right? At least have the same type of mentality. Be one as a unit. Beat that same drum. Boom. Beat that drum until people get it. It'll come. It'll come. They've mentioned it. It'll be a long, it'll be a tough start because that's how things are when you're changing mentality, when you're changing culture, it's got to be ripped out. It's got to be ripped out. And the other one has to be shoved right in. It's got to be like a Band-Aid. It's got to be like a Band-Aid. I think the Bears are on the right track, man. I really do. Hope Khalil Mack has a great season. I hope he's healthy. Tarik Cohen, wish you the best, bud. I mean, dancing in the end zone after the fucking Vikings game didn't help you. Maybe a Cody White haircut. I'm still not sure about that. We'll see what happens. They still, like I said, they still have a lot of holes to fill. They went ahead and signed, Pig Simmons and Sam Mustipher. They brought them back because they value depth. And I think they value depth, especially at the offensive line position, seeing as Ryan Poles is a former offensive lineman. I think Cody Whitehair might stay. I mean, if he does get cut, maybe it's a difference between him and the organization. But I think you keep a guy like a Cody Whitehair. I don't think you cut a Cody Whitehair. I don't think you fully. I don't think they're going to fully sell. I don't think they're going to fully sell. If they're going to fire sale, well, Justin's going to get beat up next season, isn't he? I mean, if it's going to be 100%, Phil was talking about it. Draft Dr. Phil was talking about it earlier on Sean and Maya in the morning. You just can't have a fire sale. Like if you have a fire sale, then you're really grasping at straws, trying to hit on everything, right? And that's the best case scenario I mentioned. You're going to try to hit on everything. Good luck. I mean, good luck. It could happen, but it's more than likely you're going to go ahead and miss on guys that you thought were sure locks or make mistakes on decisions that you thought were going to be A1 decisions, right? Cutting a Cody Whitehair. I think a Cody Whitehair, like I mentioned time and time again, I think Cody Whitehair benefits from a better center next to him. I think a Cody Whitehair with a different mentality and, hey, maybe if I got my ass in shape, because he has been getting a little soft around the midsection. I think if he gets in shape, I think a Cody Whitehair, this system and buying into it and competent coaching, like we can't stress it enough. I think it could bring a Cody Whitehair back to a point where, we see the aggressiveness. We see why, why he was so effective for us in previous seasons. I think if you believe in depth, I don't think you cut Cody Whitehair. Just my opinion. It could change. Like I said, I'm not a genius. I'm not a fortune teller. It's not Miss Cleo up in here, but that's how I see it. If you appreciate depth, why would you cut a guy like a Cody Whitehair, who I feel like you get him motivated, you get the right guys around him, maybe he steps up as well. Guys, I'm Ivan Vargas. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go spend time with the wife and my son. My daughter's over at the up at the farm in Wisconsin right now with her grandparents. So it's just hopefully the baby goes to sleep, and then me and the wife could have some husband-wife time. I like Khalil Mack. I really do. I really do. I wish him the best. For Bears fans, don't hold on to something that wasn't. Don't hold on to something that wasn't. Look towards the future. Think bigger picture. All right, guys, that's enough for me. I'm going to shut up now. Until next time, peace.
The Chicago